The funny thing about my memories of Rugrats was that Rugrats is my memories for the most part. This series was literally created 1 year after I was born. And I mean literally. August 11th, 1991 is exactly 1 year after I was born. There you go, that's my birthday. For anyone who ever cared, which you probably didn't. But this series has been ingrained within my childhood from the start. I remember watching multiple reruns of this on Nickelodeon from when I was a child to when the series eventually ended. That is almost about 13 years of the original Rugrats series that I watched from start to finish. I was all about this series. Don't ask me which episode I loved the most because honestly, it's hard to choose. From moments where Tommy was trying to get Reptar to be a good guy, the episode where they got all naked and Tommy turned to Lil and was just like, Lil, I got a question for you. Oh man, that episode got very vividly captured in my mind. From the Hanukkah specials to the Chucky's mother episodes to the going to the movies episodes to the episodes that introduced Susie, who always felt like she was a core cast member. Honestly, despite the fact that I kind of realized that Susie wasn't introduced till very somewhat later on within the series. I think it was season 2 maybe, or later on in season 1, but she wasn't initially part of the core cast. She was made to be a foil to Angelica, and I always kind of loved that. Susie on her own wasn't interesting, but as an opposition to Angelica, she was perfect. She was pitch perfect for the series, and I loved it. I loved Phil and Lil and how disgusting they could be. I loved Chucky because it was always great to see him become brave over time. Those moments where he actually just nutted up and became, what his friends needed him to be at any given moment. Of course, you had Tommy, the leader. You would follow that baby into anything, despite the fact that he was always so wrong about so many things. Through his eyes, so many things, you would follow him, even knowing that he was so wrong about so many things. It was just so interesting to see the world through this little baby's eyes. And I remember 1998, I was about 7 or 8 years old when Rugrats the movie came out, and I remember being so excited for that movie. Because I was a little kid, 7 or 8 years old. You're pretty much excited about anything for the most part. But I loved that movie and the journey they took. I remember getting so emotional during the scene in the forest where Tommy and Dill are just having that moment and all that. I loved the Reptar scooter thingy that they had. I loved that thing. I wanted that thing when I was little. I was all about that Reptar car. It was so awesome. I love the inclusion of Dale. I just really loved it. Not my favorite character, but I love the interesting dynamic that he presented to the group and to Tommy as a person. Tommy being an older brother, it made so much sense after the fact. And then you got to 2000 when I was about 9 or 10, and you had Rugrats in Paris, the movie. And while it wasn't my favorite movie of Rugrats, or just favorite Rugrats thing in general, I did love the addition of Kimmy. Kimmy was fun. She always felt like a female version of Tommy to me. Just to have this interesting character brought into that dynamic, things kind of switched around. I remember I was so excited when the opening was shifted to include Dill and Kimmy. It was just like, oh, it's new, it's different. Everything was just, I just intook Rugrats. I photosynthesized Rugrats. I ate, slept, and breathed Rugrats. And I remember when the All Grown Up special came out in 2001. Like, I was all over that because it was such a fascinating premise to me. It's just like I was so interested in the idea of them being older, and I was one of those people. I was one of those people who did want it to become a spin-off, and I was so happy when it did become a spin-off in 2003. I was 12 or 13 at the time, literally the exact age that they needed for that premise. I was the same age as Tommy and the rest of their friends, so it's just like from start to finish, I was about the same age as Tommy during the course of this entire series. And so when All Grown Up came out, I was all about it because I was so fascinated to know how these characters would be when they were older, how they would develop, what directions they would turn and take in life. I was interested in it. And to find out later on that so many people were not about this series, first of all, it ran for 5 years, so fuck. To hell with the rest of y'all. This ran for 5 glorious years. I watched this until I was around almost 18 years old. I loved All Grown Up. I just loved the dynamics that changed and shifted, how Phil and Lil kind of started to go in their own directions, especially Lil. Angelica, slowly over time needing to kind of own up to the mean girl that she was and started to become less excusable the older she got. Tommy and his love of filmmaking and directing. It's just like, of course, the baby with an imagination out the wazoo wants to be a filmmaker. I love that. Chucky being the awkward teenager. It's just like, man, if there was nothing more pinpoint accurate to a character over time, it's Chucky being an awkward teen. Like, man. And I absolutely loved the weirdness that was Dill in All Grown Up. He was weird, out there, freaky kind of kid. I ate that up. But the last Rugrats movie was Go Wild, which was a crossover with the Wild Thornberrys, which I did not care for at all. And I loved Rugrats and the Wild Thornberrys, but I just was not about that movie. It was fun in a lot of places, but the whole Nigel becomes a baby-like person, like, yeah, no. You're really underplaying Nigel, and I hate it when the Wild Thornberrys would do that to Nigel. I loved Nigel, and I loved Nigel when he was weirdly competent in a lot of places. But also Spike could talk in that movie, which no, I never need to hear that dog speak again, thank you very much. And he even had a song with like a leopard or something like that. That was weird. y'all make All Grown Up seem like it was weird, but no, Rugrats Go Wild was weird. And apparently there was also another spin-off called Preschool Days. I've seen images from it and I want to kill it with fire. I'm sorry, the animation style in that was it was too overly saturated. Their eyes looked freaky as all get out. No, I'm glad that thing got, I'm sorry, the phrasing, killed in the crib. No, thank you. Just, ugh. But, when All Grown Up came to an end in 2008, I was actually kind of sad. I really just wanted it to just keep on going, but it's just like, what a more fitting time for All Grown Up to end when I was about to exit high school. Like, boom, it's done right as I'm about to graduate from high school. It was such a surreal experience with this series. And now in 2021 we have the Revival series, which looks alright. It doesn't look the worst. They put it in the place where apparently I think it was Paul Germain, I think, was one of the other co-creators, because Klasky Kupo, Arlene Claspy and Gabor Cuspo were the creators of the series because they were having children and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was the third person, Paul Germain. I'm very shaky on this. He ended up leaving the project right before I think we had the introduction of Dill and Kimmy and all of that stuff. So he came back for the re-release. He went on to work on things like Recess and Lloyd in Space and stuff like that. But when he came back for the revival series, he set it right around the time of Susie's introduction, almost like he was picking up where he left off. So that's why Susie's included in the reboot from the get. Also because they need a little black girl to sell things, so they don't seem racist because all the babies be white. I'm just saying. Everybody needs a little black baby. But I still to this day love Rugrats. I haven't watched the revival. Might watch it sometime in the future. There's kids that I am related to that could just sit them down and watch it, see if they're interested in it at all. But my memories of Rugrats is just permeated throughout the 90s and the mid 2000s. It was all I would watch. If Rugrats was on, I would watch it. From Angelica and how mean she could be, and Tommy and his adventurous nature, the perfect foils to each other, and all the little Rugrats in between. From, babies to all grown up, I loved Rugrats. It was just something that permeated my soul, and I will always hold a special place in my heart for this series. For better or for worse, even when it reached its lowest points, I still love this series. There was nothing that came out of this series that I completely hated, except for preschool days. But that's neither here nor there. But hey, I want to hear from you. How did you feel about Rugrats? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Was it your jam back in the day? Did you grow up with it like I did? Are you that old? Like, seriously. We up in them 30s, man. Come on. But regardless, I do want to hear from you because, I could just gush about this series on and on and on and on, and I would love to hear others gush about this series. So please gush in the comment section below. And if you liked this little review slash reminiscence that I've had, please like, comment, subscribe, bell, all that wonderful YouTube bullshit. Or don't, I ain't your daddy, but I still love you like one. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.